Hi there, it's Claire here from My Creative Spirit with a new how to make project to share with you. It's a quick and easy slider card. We've been using them in projects that we've been making here in the UK for a couple of months, and they're really lovely to add to your projects, scrapbook pages, albums, and are really easy to make. I know there's loads out there on the market, but and how-tos on YouTube, but I thought I'd share with you my take on the slider cards that I've used in my projects. So here's how to put your card together. First of all, cut one piece of card 8 inches across by 5 7/8 deep and fold the short edges together. Then cut a second piece of card that is 6 1/8 deep by 5 1/8 wide and score in 1/2 inch from each long 6 1/8 edge. Crease your score lines and then put double-sided tape on the underside, both sides, and then cut 2 pieces that are 6 5/8 long by 3 7/8 wide. I'll put all the measurements on the screen. And then you need a piece of plastic bag and some double-sided tape to get started. So let's move those out of the way. So the first thing to do is to open up your double folded card and just work on one part of it. Take your piece of plastic bag, this is just a bin liner, but any plastic will work as long as it's quite flexible, and you're going to fold it round the long half of the card and trim it so that it overlaps. I've got about 1 inch of an overlap, and then take some double-sided tape and put it on the underside of the bag. Let's hope we can get the backing off. And then I like to have my join at the top, so I'm just going to bring over this top section of the bag and just drop it down onto the sticky tape. You don't want to have it too tight, you don't want to have it too loose, you don't want to have it too tight because it needs to roll. And I like to have the join at the top, so I'm just going to trim off this little bit of excess bag just past the tape, like that, and then put another piece of tape over. If you put it over the join, then you haven't got any bits of bag loose, but you need to have the tape just on the plastic bag, not sticking out so that it catches on the card. So if you've got any little bits sticking out, just trim them off and then take that backing off. Take one of your narrow pieces of card, your long narrow pieces of card, centre it between the fold and the edge of the card here, come down about 1/8 of an inch from the top and stick it in place like that, and then fold your card up so that the other side of the plastic bag is facing you. Take your tape and put it at the bottom, just up 1/8 of an inch. Take your backing off. And take your second narrow long piece of card, come up about 1/8 of an inch, centre it between the side edges and the folded edge, and stick it in place. And then you've got your slider section made. So with that last piece of card on the top, take your third piece, the last piece of card that you've made with the folded sides, Take off the double-sided tape from the underneath of your scored edges, and with the slider that you've just made on the top, take this piece, hook it around the sides, making sure that if you fold it over or flip it over, you've got that card, the back piece of the card, centered between the top and bottom edges and sitting in between these fold lines, and then just fold over. You might want to just cut these corners off so that they don't catch anywhere. And then if you fold it back, your card will slide. And then you can decorate it. I always think it's best to make it undecorated, and then there's no confusion about which way you put your slider pieces on, and then add the decoration afterwards. So to add the decoration, I'm using some cut out pieces from the Portrait of a Lady paper by Graphic 45. I've inked the edges of this piece. I'm just going to stick it down in place with a little glue, not too much, and I'm just going to spread the glue right to the edges and stick that in place. So this size of slider card will fit any of the large cutouts that Graphic 45 have in their paper collections, but it's quite easy to change the dimensions if you wanted to make a larger or a smaller slider. And then I'm going to pull out those side pieces, and I've cut 2 pink pieces to go on those, and they'll just fit on like that. But first I'm going to shape the corners. So I'm going to use a corner chomper and the scallop side just to shape those corners. I'm going to do it on both pieces. I've already inked all the edges, and then I'm going to shape the corners on the slider card as well. And then you can see exactly where you need to shape. Let's turn it around this way, and then these can be stuck into place. So I'm going to use a little glue for that, just so that I can slide them down under that centre section. But you could use tape if you wanted to. And squiggle, squiggle. And centre it and stick it down. And just press right around the edges. Make sure it's nicely stuck and that it slides. It becomes more structured once you start to put your papers on, and if you wanted you could add paper to the back side as well, just to give it more a bit more firmness. But I'm not going to do that. I have found that if you raise them upon foam pads, raise the centre section upon foam pads, when you come to stick it into your project, then the sliders seem to slide better for some reason. Let's just lift that up by sticking it on the right side. Now this one I'm going to have to trim down, so let's just trim it to there. Just so that it doesn't stick on the plastic bag. So trim yours down if you need to, and stick it in place. Press it down nice and firmly. And then press the glue down really firmly and slide those pieces back in under your card. So they sit about an inch out at either end, and it's quite nice to add a pull or a tab. So I've got some little black circles. These are 3/4 inch circles, but you could add any tab on the end here. So I'm just going to sandwich 2 sets together. So I'll put glue on one, squidge it around so that both surfaces are completely covered, and then stick one underneath the tab and the other one on the top, or the tag rather, the other one on the top. And then I've got a 5/8 of an inch circle cut from the paper just to add onto the front of the black circle. And stick that one in place in the middle. And then do the same the other side. I'm going to stick the paper one on first. And then squidge them together. And stick that one underneath and that one on top. It doesn't just stick. They will stick. And then what you can do is cover the little paper circles on the top with glossy accents to make a really nice, or give a really nice feel to your pulls. And that's it. Then you can add your photographs and add it into your project. So that's my quick and easy slider card. Hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up if you have, and subscribe to my channel to be kept up to date with more projects and crafty ideas as they come out. Thanks for watching.